Here are the CBS Sports rankings. You can find 1 through 50 at cbssports.com. Fernando Mendoza is number 2. Those two are 2-3 in Heisman odds. Carson Beck is the Heisman favorite, but he ain't there.
Wow.
He's ranked number 12 in the CBS Sports rankings.
Our people don't like Carson Beck, huh?
But you do. Danny
I
Kannell is
do,
here.
yeah.
He has his own rankings. We're going to start from 10 and count down, but Carson Beck's in there, right?
Yes. He's pretty high up on that list as well.
Yeah, some of these are stunning.
Yeah.
At number 10 is a person that isn't even in the top 50 in the CBS Sports rankings. Dante
Really?
Moore, not even in the top 50.
And I think I had him top 3 last week.
He was the Heisman favorite last week.
He was. And then one bad game, and it wasn't even that bad. We're ready to write him off. I'm not ready to write him off just yet. I still love the way he throws the football. I think it was his first big game where he was tested. He had a couple interceptions, and it was not a great performance for Dante Moore. But I'm a big believer in seeing him bounce back. He's been through adversity already in his career when he was at UCLA, had to sit out the season. I think he'll be fine in the long term. This will be a good test for him going across the country to play against Rutgers. I would expect him to bounce back. And this is a real critical moment of the season for Oregon to showcase, all right, that game was an anomaly. We're going to get back to dominating our opponents. And Rutgers they're a feisty team. Like, their offense is actually putting up big numbers, so you might have to rely on Dante Moore to put up some points, but I think he does in this situation.
Speaking of UCLA, no Nico on your list. How close is he to Maiava the way he's playing right now?
He was close. It's funny because on our day trader Danny, I had bought Nico 2 weeks ago, like right at the bottom.
Whoa.
And then I sold him today. They do play Maryland this week, but UCLA has the toughest remaining schedule of anybody in the country. So it's more about the schedule than it is about Nico.
I saw that note. UCLA has the toughest remaining schedule. If you go by winning percentage of opponents, Ohio State has the easiest remaining schedule in the country. Their opponents have won 44% of their games so far this season. You have their quarterback, Julian Sayin, here coming in at number 6.
He's been great. And it's kind of flying under the radar because
7, I should say.
He's kind of flying under the radar because he hasn't been asked to do too much in many critical situations because they've kind of been on cruise control since beating Texas, where he was, they kind of kept the tight rein on him. They didn't ask him to do a whole lot, asked him to be that game manager. But slowly and surely, they're unveiling more of the system, and they're letting him throw the ball down the field. And still to be leading the country in completion percentage as just a first-year starter is remarkable. And I know he's got a lot of weapons, and I know you've got a good backfield and a good offensive line, but that is still incredible. He's taking care of the football. He's still pushing it vertically down the field. My only question for Ohio State, really this is for the playoffs and the postseason in the Big Ten championship game, are they ever going to make him uncomfortable, an opponent, so that his first time looking up the scoreboard with a deficit potentially could be in the Big Ten championship or in the playoffs? I'd rather see Julian Sayin get tested through the fire a little bit more, but I don't know if we're going to see that because this team has been so good and the most of their tougher opponents have been earlier this season.
Got him on CBS this weekend. You're going to be there to watch him at Wisconsin as a 4-score favorite for Ohio State to stay unbeaten. Let's go just ahead of him to number 6. And it's Notre Dame's C.J. Carr and a monstrous game coming up this week against USC.
Huge game. And it was interesting because when C.J. Carr started, the first time he'd taken under a snap as a starting quarterback and his first pass attempt was in the down at Hard Rock Stadium against the Miami Hurricanes. And in that game, I remember thinking they came up short and they lost the game. But I remember watching C.J. Carr's poise and composure. And like, this kid looks like he's been around the block a little bit, and he looked comfortable throwing the football. Didn't panic. He had a couple rough, bounces, ball tipped, goes in interception the other way. But since then, and even the A&M game, which they did lose, he's been much better as their quarterback, and he's gotten better and better throughout the season where he's playing at an elite level. Yes, it helps they have Jeremiah Love and they've got Jadarian Price in the backfield as that, tandem back there. It makes his job a lot easier. But I think there's a really good quarterback matchup between C.J. Carr and Jayden Maiava from USC, and I think it's a surprise to most people to say that this is a pretty evenly matched quarterback battle considering Maiava had a year of experience on him.
But you are going to give the slight edge to USC in the quarterback room in this game?
I am, just because I've seen more of it and I've seen him lift his team up a little bit. Even in the loss against Illinois, You saw Jayden Maiava make some incredible tight window throws. And I do think he's a little bit more mobile, which is an aspect that's just an element to becoming a requirement of the game. But Maiava's been outstanding. Even last week, they did lose their top 2 running backs, and they got an outstanding performance from King Miller. But he really does feel like he's starting to thrive in Lincoln Riley's system, where he's seeing the field really well. He's making really good decisions with the football. You see the production he's getting at over 300 yards and a 17-2 touchdown to interception ratio. He has been phenomenal for the Trojans.
Your top 3 are the top 3 in Heisman odds right now, and it's not particularly close. It's like those 3 guys and then a big drop down to the rest. How do you separate those 3 at the very top?
So Ty Simpson to me has been the most battle tested, and he's going to have the most opportunities against quality opponents in prime situations to thrive. And I've already seen him in some tight competitive games, like we saw last week. The highlight we came in here, he's throwing the ball vertically down the field into tight windows. Fernando Mendoza has been awesome this year for Indiana. Carson Beck has probably the easiest path, but I actually think that could hurt him because you need to have those Heisman moments. And for him, unfortunately, they came earlier this season. He was outstanding against Florida State and Tallahassee with 4 touchdown passes, a couple beautiful post throws down the field. But as they're going to be probably a double-digit favorite like they are this Friday against Louisville, I just don't know if he's going to have those resounding moments. So until the ACC championship, where again, they might be a double-digit favorite in an ACC championship game, you just might not have that many opportunities to impress. What he can do is continue to challenge statistically, add the touchdowns, keep the interceptions low, keep putting up big numbers, and he'll be right there. Where everybody else does have big tests, they might fall by the wayside, and Carson Beck could be the last one standing.
And sometimes you fail a test, you fall way down. John Mateer, I mean, give him credit for playing in that game against Texas. He's not in your top 10. Could he get back? And are you concerned about that health moving forward?
So I'm concerned about a couple things. One, I think the thumb obviously impacted his play. I mean, he was still bleeding out there. He had to go get that addressed during the game against Texas. But also his play, which everyone loved when he came into Oklahoma. Oh, he's a swashbuckler. He likes to make plays outside the pocket. And look at some of these arm angles where he drops it down. Well, that against Michigan, you got away with a couple that should have been intercepted, and they didn't. But then he made a couple big plays. Against Texas, some of those riskier throws got exposed. He had 3 interceptions in that game, but also could have thrown a couple more. He's got to rein it in a little bit and play a little bit more within the system that he came with Ben Arbuckle, his offensive coordinator. His offensive line is starting to become an issue. The competition's going to get tougher for John Mateer. So I am worried about him staying at the top tier of college football, even the SEC. And they have a tricky game this weekend on the road in South Carolina as just a 5.5-point favorite. This will be a really good litmus test for just exactly where Oklahoma is, not only for John Mateer at quarterback, but as a program. I do think their defense will do enough to get the job done. But that's kind of a scary place to go play for Brent Venables.
Yeah, and then you got number 5 Ole Miss, you got number 11 Tennessee, you got number 6 Alabama, you got number 16 Missouri, you got number 10 LSU.
Yep.
SEC's a meat grinder, Danny. Anybody can get you any given week, as you know. Danny Kannell with his quarterback rankings right here on CBS Sports HQ. What would you guys do on the latest Cover 3?
We did a little big game breakdown, a little day trading, Danny, if you want to make some trades on the QB stock market.
And you traded away Nico Iamaleava.
I did.
Because of the tough schedule coming for UCLA down the stretch.